Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we will be completing in today's video. If you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. Otherwise, before we get started, the only thing you will need to do is download the color palette and the special font that we are using in today's video. They are linked in the description below and they're totally free to download. When they download for the color palette, all you need to do is double tap to open it up in Procreate and it'll automatically import the color palette for you. And then for the font, if you've never uploaded a font into Procreate before, you just need to go find the text file that downloads in your files and then click on the three little dots or maybe hold down on it to give you some options, and then find the option that says open with and then find Procreate. So open it with Procreate and then it'll automatically open up Procreate and your font will be there in your font list when you go to add text later in the video. If you're still struggling with this, go ahead and just give it a quick search and find a quick video to help you out. I promise it's really easy though, so take some time to go and do that and then come back and we will get started. So first things first, we will go over our canvas dimensions. They are 10 inches by 10 inches at 300 dpi. The color profile that we're using is the second one on the RGB list. And for our layers by the end of the video, we need about 10 to 15 layers. So make sure you have that many available. If you do not, you can always lower your DPI here to get more layers. This is our color palette, pretty simple colors here. Feel free to change them up if you want to use your own colors for the florals and leaves in the background and stuff. But we are going to go ahead and get started. So our background is just going to stay white. So that's what I have mine set to. If yours isn't set to that, go to your background color layer, and I always use this classic one, but drag it all the way up and to the left or find a nice white color. And then we are going to be on layer 1, and we're going to start by making the banner in the front of our leaves and flowers. So we are going to go to our color palette and select the fourth color on the top row. Again, we are on layer 1 and we are going to grab the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. And we're going to set that to about 30%. And what we are going to do is make one part of it, the top and the side, and then we're going to copy it and flip it and connect it. So let's just start with the top and the right side. So kind of over here to the right, we're going to leave quite a bit of room to have the rest of our banner go off. We're just going to make the first little portion. So maybe a third of the way in on the up from the right side, we're just going to make a small vertical line. So make a line, hold your pen down to make it turn into a perfectly straight line, and then touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Maybe 1.5 inches long, and then let go. And we're going to make the top part of the banner, so it's going to start higher and then swoop lower. So I am going to turn my canvas just a little bit so I can get a good line. So I'm just going to start from the top here, and you just want to draw pretty fast to get a smooth line. Boom, just like that. Okay, so that's a nice smooth line with just a little bit of a dip in it. So that's our first shape. So let's go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer. Click the arrow tool, click on flip vertical, and then flip horizontal. And then we're just going to line it up where our edges touch. I have snapping and magnetics turned on, which kind of helps a little bit. Right here is where you can turn those on. Okay, so there we go. That's the banner. It looks beautiful. So we'll go to our layer menu, snap these two layers together, Then I'm going to click the arrow tool and we're just going to center it on the entire canvas. So you need at least snapping on for this. And we want to see the horizontal and vertical yellow lines in the middle to know that it's exactly in the center. And again, we have a good amount of room on the left and right side here to add our other little pieces of our banner. So we will do that now, staying on the same layer here. So first we're going to start on the right side. And a little bit in from the bottom, we're going to make a small vertical line. So make a line, hold your pen down, touch your finger to the screen. And then we are going to make another line connecting it to the side. So again, hold your pen down so it turns perfectly straight. And then I'm going to zoom in a little, click edit shape so that we can line this up a little bit better. Something like that. And then from there, we are going to draw a straight line out this way. Hold your pen down again. Then we're going to draw the little like cut in here on the ribbon. So let's start kind of right here, draw a line to this, hold it down. Draw a line going the other way, hold it down. And we don't want it to be quite as tall as the top of our banner here because this one's a little bit lower, so we want the whole thing to be lower. So then let's draw a curved line. Hold that down so it turns into a perfectly curved line. It's way too curvy, so we are going to drag it up a little and drag the curve down. But just a little bit of curve there. And then we're going to do a similar thing on the other side on the top area here. So we are going to draw a straight vertical line here. Touch your finger to the screen, and then we're going to draw a line here to connect them. Go ahead and click edit shape at the top if you need to make any adjustments. And then we're going to draw another straight line here. Connect it. Pointies, so we'll make one pointy here, a pointy going back this way, and then a curved line connecting to the center. A slightly curved line. Okay, so there's our banner. So now we are going to fill it in and create the plaid on the edges. So let's go to our layer menu, click on this layer, turn it to a reference layer, add a new layer, drag this layer underneath it, and we are going to grab our second color on the top row and we're just going to drag and drop that right on the big center one. And also on these smaller triangles here on the sides, but not the big little ends of our ribbon here. So we are going to add a new layer, leave this reference layer on, and we are going to then fill those in on their own layer. So these are on their own separate layer. That is because we will only be doing the plaid part on this layer, so we'll use that to make that happen. So let's go ahead and click on this reference layer and turn off reference. And let's add a new layer on top of our little wings here on the side. Click on this layer, turn on clipping mask. And then we're going to grab this third color on the top row. And what we're going to do first is set up our 2D grid so that we can make this plaid. So let's go to our options menu here, clicking on the gear icon. Under canvas, turn on the drawing guide, click edit drawing guide, and we are going to have it on 2D grid, and we're going to drag the size up a little bit. So I want to fit at least 2 to 3 plaid lines going in each direction on our little tail here. So that means I'm going to do every other one. So I need at least like 5 or 6. So I think there's 5-ish that fit on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 technically in the background here. So, and then 5 going up. So that's fine. So about that size. So if you look from top to bottom, you want maybe 5 or 6 squares to fit roughly. They don't have to fit perfectly, obviously, because they're not perfect shapes, but something around there. So set your size so that you have that. We are also going to turn on assisted drawing and then click done. So while we're on this layer, it is assisted, which it doesn't matter much because first we're just going to use the rectangle tool. So let's grab our selection tool here, turn on rectangle, turn on color fill, and let's start with our horizontal plaid lines. So we are going to start over here, and we are going to, basically we're just going to try to cover a square and every other square, you know, kind of making stripes. And you can start on the outside of your shape because it's a clipping mask, so it won't go over the edge. So I'm gonna have this first little line be blank, and then I'm gonna fill in the entire second square here from left to right. Skip the next one, and we'll fill in this whole one. Skip the next one and this whole one, and then I ran out of room. If you have more, keep going. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. Just like that. Then let's go to our layer menu, click on the N on this layer, and we are going to drop it to maybe 40%. Then let's add a new layer above that. Click on it, turn it into a clipping mask as well. We don't need to turn on assisted because we're going to be using the rectangle tool again. So now we're going to do vertical lines. So click your rectangle tool again. Rectangle and color fill turned on, and then we're going to do vertical lines. So I'll start from the right over here. So I'll leave this first little square blank, and then we will start filling in the second square. Skip one, fill in this one, skip one, and we'll fill in this one, even though there's just this little bit here that you can see at the bottom. And then we'll go over here and do the same thing. So we'll start on the edge, we'll leave this edge one blank. Next one. Next one, and I guess maybe the teeniest little bit of this next one. Okay. Then let's go to our layer menu, click on the N on this layer, and let's drag that to maybe 60%. Then let's add a new layer. Click on this layer, turn on clipping mask, click on it again and turn on drawing assist, because now we are going to use the assisted drawing feature of the 2D grid that helps us draw perfect vertical and horizontal lines. So go to the color menu, grab the first color on the second row, and we should still be on our monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. Size is about 30%. And let's just start on the right side here. Okay, and then basically we're just going to draw in the cream colored spaces that are still showing. So in between the darker sections of our plaid here. So each one that we left blank, we're going to draw a quick line through. So we'll start on the edge here, just kind of in the middle of the line. You can only really see that bit. Let's do another vertical one here in the middle and a vertical one here in the middle. And then horizontally we'll go here in this space and here in this space and nothing else. Then on this side, same thing. We'll start here and here, vertical, vertical, and these horizontal ones. That is our plaid. It looks really, really good. So we will go to the gear icon, turn off the drawing guide so that we don't have to look at that anymore. So now what we're going to do is add the font to the front of our ribbon here that says Happy Fall, or you can have it say whatever you would like. So you don't need to add a new layer. All you need to do is click the gear icon up top, click Add Text, and it'll automatically pop up. So I always like to click the arrow and then drag it onto the screen so that I can see it better. Then we'll go back to our layer menu. Here's our text layer. I have it at the top of my layers here. Click on it, click Edit Text, and then double tap. And I have mine, or I'm going to set mine to be black. So that's the first thing I'll do. So open up your color palette, click on the fourth color on the top row to change that. And then with your text selected, click down here on this double A to bring up our menu. So this is where that font comes into play that you downloaded. I will scroll down and find it. It is called like shopping script, and then I will drag the size up to maybe 100, and we'll leave the tracking and stuff at 0. And then I'm going to touch the keyboard here so that I can start typing. So we will type Happy Fall, and then we'll click the arrow tool and just kind of center it here. I can maybe make it a little bit bigger. Because we are going to kind of move the words around. So I made it just a little bit bigger to about 110. And then now we are going to start moving the text around a little bit. To do this, it is going to rasterize our text, meaning we won't be able to change the words or the font anymore. So make sure you like the font and your words that you have before doing this, but we are just going to use the selection tool. We can leave it on rectangle, turn off color fill, and then we will just select the word happy, click on the arrow tool. It'll say that your text layer was rasterized, and then we'll just drag it over a little bit and change the angle just a little bit to lean to the left to kind of match our ribbon here. And then we'll redo the selection, grab the fall part, and then we are going to drag that over and up to kind of sit right there. And that is our text layer, easy enough. Okay, and then now we are going to add all of our florals and leaves in the background. So the first thing that we're going to do is just add all of the black lines that are going to be all of our shapes. So, okay, so we're just going to go layer by layer with our different shapes. Okay, so let's just add a new layer. Let's drag it behind all of our other layers, and we will start there. So it should be right above your background color. And the first one that we're going to start with is the big flower behind. So be on our black color, the fourth color on the top row, and our monoline brush still at 30%. And the first thing that we're going to do is draw the big flower part in the background. So let's start on the top side. So we'll have some of it peeking up on the top, some of it on the bottom right in the center here. So let's start by drawing a petal-y shape like this. Hold it down so that it turns into a perfectly smooth shape. Then let's draw another little petal off to the side over here. So we'll have 2 on the top and then maybe 3 on the bottom. So let's draw a big one here. A smaller one over here. And we don't want them to overlap like this, so I'm going to click Edit Shape and just move it over. And maybe another little one here. Again, move it over just a little bit. And just so that we can fill them in, we are going to go to our layer menu, turn off this cream colored ribbon that sits in the middle, just so that we can see what we're working with back here. So make sure that we're still on our flower shape layer here though, and we are just going to connect the shapes to close them all in one big section here. And then we're going to go to our color palette, grab the third color on the second row here, and we are going to fill in both of those shapes with that color. And again, if you were to turn this back on, it'll cover it all up very nicely, but let's leave it turned off so that we can see what we're working with back here, because now we're going to do the leaves and we might need to see it again. So let's add a new layer, and we're actually going to drag it behind our flower layer, and then we are going to grab our black color again, the fourth one on the top row, same size, 30%, and now we're just going to add some leaf shapes, some big leaves, all kind of behind and around our flower. So let's just start here, and so we're just going to make 2 curved lines. So one curved line, hold it down, another curved line, hold it down, and kind of try to make them meet at the bottom. We can again make sure that all of our shapes are filled in later, but it might be easier to just hold them both down and make them meet at the bottom of their shape, even though you can't see it because it's behind this flower. Again, we'll clean it up later, but just kind of try to keep that in mind as you go. Let's maybe add one kind of smaller one here. And maybe one here. And if your leaves are going to overlap, just make sure that they don't. You know, we don't want this line going like this. We only want to see one at a time. So if they're going to overlap, just kind of stop it right on the edge of one of your leaves to show that like one of them is in the front. Okay, now let's go to the bottom. One more over here. And just to kind of even things out, this one's a little small and a little far away, so I'm just going to use the selection tool, turn it to freehand, color fill off, and I'm just going to kind of select this shape since I don't think it's touching much else behind it. And we're just going to make it a little bit bigger over here. Maybe move it out a little more too. There we go. So kind of make some adjustments as you go. So those are all of our leaf shapes. Now we need to fill them in, but we need to make sure our shapes are closed. So let's go and turn off this flower layer and then just make sure that we close them all, or they're all connected somehow. And again, like, we know that this part's behind the flower, so it's okay if it's a little ugly, but just as long as it's, you know, connected to another leaf or connected to itself. And then we should be able to fill them in. So I'm going to do every other one like a darker and lighter red. So the first one is this first color on the second row. And I'll do this one and this one on the top, and then this one and this one on the bottom. So again, you'll have to close your shapes separately so that you can alternate the colors. And then grab the second color on the second row and fill in the other ones. And then we can go and turn our flower back on. And if you want, you can turn your ribbon layer back on just so that we can see how it's looking. So that looks really good so far. So now we're just going to add some smaller leaves and little sprigs to kind of fill the rest of it out and switch it up a little. So those can be in front of our leaf layer but behind our flower layer. So let's add a new layer in between those. And we're going to grab our black again, same monoline brush. And the first one that we're going to do, some little sprigs that have some little like balls on the ends that will fill in. So let's just make one on each side, top and bottom. So 4 total. So we'll just start on the top left here and make a line going up and out like this. And then have a couple little lines coming off each side. Make sure to hold your pen down so they all turn perfectly straight. And then we're going to draw the circles on the ends. So draw a circular shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle, about that size, and then we'll do it again on this one, and then again. And then one last one here at the top. And then we'll do that on each side. So let's do another one over here. And then if you ever need to adjust where they are, you can just click edit shape and kind of move them so that you're not like going over your lines that you drew or something like that. So now that we have 2 done, we could very easily just go to our layer menu and let's just make a duplicate of this layer. Click the arrow tool, click flip horizontal, flip vertical as well, just to kind of mix them up, and we can just drag them and place them down below. And then on our layer menu, we can go ahead and merge these 2 layers together just by snapping them together with your fingers. So now all 4 of them are on the same layer. And then we're going to fill in the balls with the same cream color that we used for our ribbon. So let's grab that, the second color on the top row. And we can just drag and drop that onto each one. We also could have done this before we made our duplicate of our layers so that we only had to do it on 2 of them, but oh well. Okay, and then lastly, we will add a few little smaller leafy greens to it. So let's add a new layer above this layer, below our flower layer still, and switch back to our black again. And now we'll do a similar thing. We're just going to add some little green sprigs this time. So let's go ahead and draw the initial line that we'll start with, and this time it's going to be a curved line. So make a slightly curved line, hold your pen down at the end till it turns perfectly, till it snaps to a nice perfect line there. And then this time we are going to just draw some little kind of teardrop shapes all up and down the side of this line. So you're just kind of drawing like a little oval shape that sticks to each side of the line, and then we'll move over and do it on this side. Just like that. Let's add another one, maybe to fill in this little gap here. And I switch to a straight line, so I can click edit shape at the top and click arc to make it more of a curved line. want that one to be a little bigger, so I'm going to select it and make it a little bit bigger. There we go. And maybe let's add one more on the top here. Maybe just right in here. Maybe another smaller one. Okay, and then we are going to fill them in now. So let's grab our fourth color on the second row, this green color. And let's just fill in all those little leaves. Okay, and then again, we will now add some to the bottom, but we can use the ones that we already made. So let's go to our layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer, and we'll just have this one selected, that duplicated. Click on the arrow tool, click flip vertical, and maybe we will just have two. So now we can kind of use a selection tool and move them around. So let's grab our selection tool, turn it to freehand. Maybe we'll get rid of this really, really small one. So I'm going to select it, click the arrow tool, and just drag it off the screen. And then we'll do the selection tool again, and maybe I'll select this one. Maybe we'll change the angle of it a little bit. Maybe have it like right here. And then use the selection tool again for this one. And maybe just kind of replace it until you like the way that it looks. So that's a good way. You can just kind of duplicate it, but then still move it around so it looks like we, free-handed them as well. And the last thing that we're going to do is just add a little bit of detail to some of our leaves and flower. So let's go back to our leaf layer here, the big red and pinkish leaves that we made. Go back to that layer, go back to our black color, same monoline brush, same size, and we are going to add the leaf lines in the middle. So I'm going to start at the tippy top of each one, draw a straight line, hold it down, and then we are going to add some lines on the sides as well. You can hold them down if you want. I'm just kind of drawing them and just letting them be. But you can hold them down if you want to make them like perfectly straight. But they're pretty easy to just kind of throw on. And just make sure you don't go outside of your lines. And we'll just do this for each one. Okay, and then we're gonna add some little lines on our flower here. So let's go back to that layer. Same color, same brush, and we're just going to add a few little lines, kind of shooting from the middle of our petals behind our banner. Bigger ones on our bigger petals. Just kind of a few little ones like that. And then that is it for our drawing today. I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me in the future. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it. So go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. While you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so that you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching.